morning, everyone. So, good morning to Mr. Apo and the entire Safety4SEA organizing team, my fellow panelists, and of course to the audience, especially to my fellow seafarers. Today, I am tasked to talk about the insights that we got from the ISWAN helplines. Okay? Just a brief, I'm gonna skirt through these slides. I'm just gonna introduce who ISWAN is. ISWAN, or the International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network, is a maritime charity based in the UK. We have a regional presence in the Philippines and in India. So our vision is quite simple. It's to provide better lives for seafarers and their families. Actually, just days ago, we launched our new vision for our strategic goal for 2025 to 2028, which is a safe, fair, and inclusive maritime sector that provides fulfilling careers and sustainable livelihoods for all seafarers and their families. There were some changes with our vision statement, but what remains to be the same is that our goal as an organization is to provide betterment for seafarers and, of course, by extension, their families. Now, how do we approach our vision? It's of course with our flagship programs. And one of those is our 24/7 free, multilingual, multi-channel, and the most important part, confidential helpline, which is made available for seafarers and their families. It's a 24/7, so anytime or any place in the world they could call our helplines. And the contact details I'll be sharing to you in the last slide of my presentation. So speaking of the helplines, we had 11,411 contacts for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. That's a gargantuan number, and it involves 6,932 seafarers. With regard to the cases or the problem categories that we do receive in the helplines, I'll be delving on that a bit more in the latter or the second part of my presentation. Oh, sorry. So another flagship program that we have is our financial assistance program called Seafarers Emergency Fund, or SEF, for seafarers and their family members. So the family members are also covered by this financial assistance program. Now, to the meat of the topic, which is the key trends that we saw in the ISWAN helplines, at least for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Number one is the ABHDV cases. So ABHDV is a term that we coined in ISWAN. It means abuse, bullying, harassment, discrimination, and violence. And my fellow panelist has mentioned about sexual harassment a while ago. And at least for us in ISWAN, we saw an uptick in the number of cases for ABHDV by 25.6%, which covers 167 cases. And you might tell me, oh, you had 11,000 something cases. This is just 167. But I'm gonna answer to you, it's 167 cases too many. Because seafarers should never, ever feel unsafe and insecure when they're working at sea. Okay? And we also saw a disproportionality in terms of gender. Women are 2.5 times more likely to report issues about abuse, bullying, harassment in the workplace. That might mean two things. Number one is that female seafarers or women seafarers are more likely to experience abuse and bullying while at work, or that men or male seafarers are unlikely to report ABHDV because of stigma, machismo, and all the other factors that hamper them from reporting ABHDV cases. Now, just a magnifying glass to really look into ABHDV, I have here Q3 of 2023, which you can see there's an uptick from Q2 to Q3, about 53%. And that's a staggering increase. And with that, 70% of those who reported ABHDV cases said that they were verbally abused or bullied, and that's on the basis of their nationality and sexuality. And 12% involve physical assault, while 16% involve sexual assault or harassment. Actually, ABHDV is consistently one of the many issues that is most closely associated with mental health concerns on board the ship. In fact, many seafarers who report ABHDV or experiencing ABHDV also sought support with coping with sleep difficulties, issues with concentration, anxiety, and distress. 10% of those cases that I'm showing to you now was also further compounded by the seafarers being asked to carry out excessive or unreasonable work. And in at least 2/3 of these cases, the perpetrator, sorry for using the word, or the alleged one who is doing the abuse or bullying was a senior officer or a yacht owner or someone, basically someone was higher power than the one being bullied or abused. So it remains to be seen where that maybe the hierarchical structure that we have on board the ship can be something that makes ABHDV thrive in the maritime industry. Another thing, or at least in ISWAN, what we do to help out in curbing these cases that we do receive in ABHDV, we have Safe at Sea. We launched Safe at Sea campaign wherein it's a global initiative aimed at making ships safer, not just physically, but also emotionally and socially through building allyship. So as you can see here, there's a QR code. So if you scan that QR code, you'll be redirected to free resources on fostering inclusive environments, building stronger and safer teams, and challenging harmful behaviors on board ships. Now, next, and quite closely related to ABHDV, are mental health concerns, which my fellow panelists also covered today. So mental health concerns remain to be one of the top 5 concerns that we have been receiving in the ISWAN helplines, starting from way back 2019 up until 2023 to 2024. It also has a 10.5 year-on-year increase when we compared it from the previous fiscal year. So as you see, there's still an increase in the number of mental health concerns on board the ship, even though we have internet, even though repatriation is already there, even though the pandemic has already stopped, mental health concern still continues to be a problem in the industry. And women, again, are more likely to report mental health concerns. By this time, by a larger amount, 4.2 times compared to their male counterparts. And another appalling data about this is that seafarers who are in their first or second contracts are also most likely to report mental health concerns, which means these are cadets that we're talking about, or entry-level seafarers that we're talking about. Basically, seafarers who are just, they have this naivete that when they enter the industry. I, for one, is a seafarer, so I had that inkling, and then you are faced with the realities of the seafaring career. Now, another thing that concerns with mental health is suicidal ideation. In the last calendar year, 2024, we have had a huge amount of suicidal ideation cases, even going at par with the number of suicidal ideation cases that we had during the pandemic. And we saw that there are common denominators to suicidal ideation cases. These are financial pressures to be at sea, unsupportive captain or crew, basically dynamics between the fellow crew members, and lastly, fear or shame about telling their loved ones about their journeys or experiences on board. So these are just some of the common denominators that leads to suicidal ideation. So how does this inform the work that we do in ISWAN? We have our SIM project, or the Social Interaction Matters project, wherein, as you can see, there's a QR code again. We have launched an initiative wherein we wanted to improve mental health and well-being on board by promoting quality social interaction at sea. And of course, that is coupled by getting enough rest, being more aware of how to manage your psychological well-being and emotional well-being on board. So there is going to be a new and updated guidance and report coming this 2025. So please watch out for that one. This one, financial issues and other related concerns. Sorry, I'm bombarding you with a lot of statistics, but these are what we are seeing in the ISWAN helplines. Financial issues is the third most common concern in the ISWAN helpline, well, concerning the 2023 to 2024 statistics. Actually, I made it a point, I filtered the data that we have, and I tried to look what are the most common cases that Filipino seafarers report to the ISWAN helplines. And it's outstanding that actually it's our top 1 concern for Filipino seafarers. Filipino seafarers contact the ISWAN helplines for financial issues. We actually take 50% or more than 50% of the global number of financial issues that we receive in the ISWAN helpline. That's how many Filipino seafarers contact the ISWAN helplines for financial difficulties. And it goes hand in hand with contractual issues, which is the second most common concern, and seeking employment, which is the fourth most common concern in the ISWAN helplines. And we have here increases or uptick in wages or unpaid salaries and abandonment cases in the ISWAN helplines. Now, Dr. Monique also talked about family and relationship issues. We also saw that there's a steep increase in the number of calls that we receive pertaining to family and personal issues. As you can see, there's an increase from 2020 to 2022, and then there's a plateau or a bit of a downtick from 2022 to 2023. And we saw that the most reported personal issues are relationship strains, basically breakups, as already mentioned. So that's a common thing, and tension with partners. And unfortunately, with all of these family and relationship issues coming to the helpline, 60% of those who called us with this concern have also sought for mental health support. So lastly, this is our family outreach program. It's an initiative that we have in ISWAN wherein we want to empower family members through interactive and guided discussions, wherein we also highlight the importance of family support in the well-being of seafarers. So these are just some of the topics like understanding the life of seafarers at sea, the nuances of the seafaring career, the effective and empathic communication, because it does impact the seafarers' well-being, how they communicate with their families. As Dr. Monique has mentioned, Filipino seafarers specifically, their primary motivator is their family members. So it really impacts the mental health and well-being of the seafarer. And mental health and self-care practices for family members, financial discipline, and ways to seek support in cases of emergency. So these are just some of the cases that we do receive in the ISWAN helplines. There are a lot more. We can discuss it more. You can talk to us. Here is our contact details if you want to know more, if you want to discuss more. And of course, that is also our helpline call. So feel free to share it to your fellow seafarers or the seafarers in your companies. Thank you and good day.